Tom Friedman, you've written that this is an event for which there is no historic parallel. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, it's because we basically have a kind of 18th century war, basically a monarch who decided he'd just like to devour the country next door, happening in a 21st century world where the whole thing is going to be streamed live on TikTok, and where the global economy is so completely now intertwined that a major war in the heart of Europe with massive refugees, which we've already seen, and the threat of spreading violence will touch markets from Sydney to to New York City to Paris. So we've never had this. Basically, I call it World War wired.
What difference do you think the degree of social media sharing will make? People can now, take images on their phones outside the front door of their house and it's online in seconds.
Well, I think one thing we've already seen is the tremendous amount of kind of social groups that are already weighing in on this and sort of public institutions. I'm thinking of the FIFA soccer league now banning Russia from participating in the World Cup. I think you're going to see more and more of that, just sort of social groups responding directly, what I call super empowered people, to the action of the superpower.
Does making a territorial claim over Ukraine deliver Putin any tangible benefit?
Well, I think that the real point is that this is Putin's war. This is very much driven by the passions, the grievance, the sense of humiliation of a single man, his vision of a kind of greater Russian motherland, that he sees it as his role to be reunifying. Frankly, the whole thing is mad. It's utter madness. And it's terribly frightening because what we know about Putin for sure is he's been deeply isolated during the pandemic. You've seen the pictures of him meeting with Macron, foreign leaders. There wasn't a table long enough for him to sit on one end and the French president on the other. He had a kind of weird struggle session with his own leadership, and his own chief of intelligence didn't seem to know the answer he was looking for.
Macron tweeted this morning, actually, that he had been in constant touch with the Ukrainian President Zelensky and that he, on Zelensky's request, had organised another meeting via phone with Putin. How useful do you think Macron could be in helping negotiate a solution to this crisis?
Well, this really stops and starts when Putin feels like stopping and starting. Macron is not going to be able to do that. And as we listen to the news tonight and watch the news emerging from Ukraine, he seems to be doubling down on his military effort. And he seemed to have used the kind of softer version before because I think he miscalculated and thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Well, we have a lot of experience with Russian military doctrine. What they lack in savoir-faire, they make up with brute force. And we may be entering the brute force phase of this war, which would get very, very ugly. What is utterly mad, though, is what does victory look like? Does Putin actually believe he's going to install into Kiev a quisling government that will be able to stand on its own without a constant presence of Russian troops having to beat back a hostile, pro-democracy Ukrainian population? The whole thing is madness. It's utter madness.
What calculations do you think China would be making watching this unfold?
Well, I think, China's, looking at it from multiple levels. One, they're watching how the West, the world at large, is reacting to a land grab and have to be calculating what could happen if China seized Taiwan. And what has been one of the great surprises is how quick and broad-based has been the civilized world's response to this. From Australia to Europe to America. The Chinese have to have taken note of that. At the same time, Putin probably believes China is his only friend. When China is your only friend, you have no friends, okay? Because China doesn't have friends. They have customers and vassals. And so Putin's now very vulnerable to them. But they did something probably shocking to Putin the other day at the UN when America put forward in the Security Council a resolution condemning this invasion of Ukraine. China abstained.
Tom Friedman, thank you.
Pleasure.
Hi, I'm Leigh Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.